So the song Refugee was written a few years ago, actually. At least the texts were written. We weren't sure what we were going to call it. First it was called the prologue because we thought it might be the first thing we would do on the album. But then we realized that what kept coming through and what was increasingly prevalent in the news and continues to be in the news to this day is the crises, the humanitarian crises that exist around the world that have driven this massive surge of refugees looking for safety, looking for peace, looking for freedom. So as we were looking through and writing the song, for me, I was also struck, there's this underlying theme throughout the album as well about America. I love this country. I wasn't born here. My parents were missionaries, and I lived overseas until I was 18. But coming back here and realizing the freedom that we have, the freedom of speech, the freedom to worship, that's not something we should be taking for granted. And so I love that about this country. And I was reflecting upon symbols of our country, and the Statue of Liberty came to mind. And there's a great poem that's around the base of the Statue of Liberty. It says, "Bring me your tired, your poor." And so we took that phrase, we took those themes, and we wrapped that into the song to be able to express not just that America still is this beacon of hope from a geopolitical perspective and from a national perspective, but more importantly, the transcendent message is that there is a God who lights our way, who welcomes the humble, who welcomes the heavy-hearted, who welcomes the burdened. And so for me, again, it's this idea that he offers this light to show us the way where we can have this peace, we can have this freedom. And then, of course, it just came together where we realized this really could benefit from having a wonderful gospel choir sound as well. And so we layered that in. We wrote the parts for it after the song had been completely written. There wasn't supposed to be any gospel choir to it. And then I decided that we had to add that in, and it adds such a wonderful color to this whole song and to the depth of the song itself. So Refugee is really about the challenges, the crises that humans are going through, internal crises and external crises, and again, the sense of hope that can persist. The point for Refugee is not that it's a political statement. I don't want people to come away thinking that that's the case. The idea is that there is a human condition that we all suffer from. There are times where we feel tattered, we feel torn, we seek to find hope. And so Refugee is really an attempt to tap into that part of the human psyche and to articulate that as best I could. And so again, that's the origin on Refugee.